Hey, hello internet. So remember about 6 months ago when I made a video talking about Super Mario Bros. Wonder and Sonic Superstars and how they present a new wave of 2D revivalism and all that? And I was kind of getting hyped about them. So now they're finally out, and now I can finally give you my first impressions. Yes, I know that these games both came out 2 months ago. Look, I don't know if I about it myself, so I've had to wait to get them for Christmas. If you want me to be able to buy them myself, then like and subscribe. Try and help me grow this channel. Maybe I'll eventually get the money to do that from it. Anyway, besides the point. Yeah, I'm gonna keep the footage to the opening areas of both games, and I'm gonna try to avoid going too spoilery while also giving my first impressions. Yeah. So that's what this is. So, Mario Bros. Wonder, first impressions. The trailers gave the impression that it would be Mario mixed with Alice in Wonderland, and yeah, it's that. That's what it is. If that's what you're expecting, then you're getting that. I mean, the game's wacky. Something I found interesting about it is that there's is just a sheer ton of number of characters. There's like 8 characters, which is like 8, 9, 10 characters exactly. How is there? It's like somewhere between 10 and 15, which is just that is a big number of characters for some reason, as well as it's not super explicitly centered around Mario, so it's not like playing Mario's the canon character and then you can play and then the others exist for multiplayer and then they let you play as the others because why not? It really is just like whoever. So that's cool. They brought back a weird amount of things from Super Mario World, like those weird brick block stand-ins where you hit it and then it starts spinning, letting you go through it for a while until it stops spinning. Yeah, this has those. It has other features which are referencing Mario World, which I guess is kind of appropriate considering that game had a lot of wacky mechanics that never came back or like came back once in one level, like Galoombas and shit. So that's an interesting little tidbit of gameplay and the like. Yeah, what else? What else? Oh yeah, another thing is that the star coins and the end of level are synonymized in a really satisfying way. So, like, traditionally in Mario, the way it would work is that you have to get to the end of the level to progress. It's just how it is. You can't progress unless you beat the level, and that's the only thing you get for beating the level, unless you're at the top of the flagpole, at which point you get a 1-up. Okay, as well as there's the star coins that let you unlock levels, but instead, at the end of the level, you save one of these flower guys, Bloomins? I can't, Moobins? I can't remember what they're called. I've only played the game once and it was a relatively short bit of gameplay, but you get a Wonder Seed from them, and Wonder Seeds let you basically. Now Mario 3D Land had the castles, and you get to them, and you need to have a certain amount of star coins to unlock it. Yeah, this is basically like that. You need a certain number of Wonder Seeds to unlock the castle, and well, there are some areas of the game where you have to go through a streamlined set of levels, and you've got to beat each level to increase the path. Quite often, the game will lead you into an open area where there's just a whole bunch of levels and other activities you can do that give you that make sure of other objectives, and you just need to get enough of these wonder seeds to actually to actually just to unlock to unlock the level at the end of the whole open area that concludes it, like a castle at this one point or earlier on. There's literally just a level where you have to race a wiggler, and that's the level you unlock. And the weird thing is, you expect these to be very basic, like a basic divergence in the path, but no, they're often really open. Like, there's like what? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8-ish different activities you can do to get Wonder Seeds at the very first time when the game opens up, which is after the first couple levels, which are basically just tutorial stuff. So the game is really open for a 2D platformer really early, which I really appreciate. Oh, and going back to the Wonder Seeds, because I got a bit distracted off them, because this is completely off the cuff. It's also the case that you can also get extra Wonder Seeds in levels, as in, so there's these weird Wonder Flowers, right? And if you get them, the wacky stuff starts happening, like random invisible platforms appearing, or like a massive stampede, or all the warp pipes come to life, or some weird as shit like that. And the point of it is basically to be weird and also to be an engaging little bit of gameplay thing you can do. It's often you get interesting one-time mechanics, so that's fun. It keeps the game fresh. It keeps entertaining. It often is very funny and weird, which brings me also to these talking flowers. They basically exist to just spat out quippy one-liners when you go past them. Like you get the elephant apple. It's like it's a sleeping Goomba. It's like that Goomba looks so serene. Then you kick it and it's like whoops, then, or it's like this level of piranha plants singing, walking around, and it's like, oh, a talking plant, how strange. Almost, no, it's like a walking plant, how strange. Almost as strange as a talking plant, says the talking flower. They are funny as hell, and they increase the game's enjoyment factor quite a lot. And also, but yeah, but anyway, the Wonder Seeds, you can get multiple of them per level. Long story short, that's the thing with them, and so you can get a bunch of, and so you can. There's two strategies. You can either beat all the different levels and thus get one Wonder Seed from both of them, or you can get both Wonder Seeds from only some levels. Plus, there's also these badges which give Mario extra abilities, often which are quite power up like. Like, for instance, you know the Super Acorn, you know how it let you glide? Well, if this flying capability gives you basically the same mechanics. There's one that lets you swim like a dolphin, quote unquote. I forget what the badge is called itself, but it basically gives you the mechanics of the frog suit. They probably, given there's so many of them so early on, I assume they'll keep being as common that I doubt that they're like I doubt that they're all going to be like existing power ups, but yeah, it's it, they are interesting, and also they offer like a ton of different gameplay possibilities for how a different level can be played depending on what extra ability you give your character. So that's fun. In addition, there's these purple coins, like basically you know how Super Mario Odyssey had purple coins. This is basically those. You can spend them in the shop, and I think given the price of everything in the shop, they might be too easy to come by. Like, they're scattered all over the place through levels, almost as common as regular gold coins, and you can use them to buy things like 1-ups, extra Wonder Seeds, which lets you just negate content, which... I get it. I get that it exists to stop you, like, younger players from getting stopped, but it also feels like negates the need to actually play the game. So I'm iffy on that. As well as you can also buy badges from shops. I do feel like it does overshadow you with purple coins, given the price of everything and how much there is to buy. But yeah. So that's some initial impressions of Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Very interesting that they've decided that now Bros means it's a 2D platformer. Is it gonna be Super Mario Bros. Maker now? I don't know, but that's that. I mean, this game's whole brand is being weird and new, and that's cool. Although, yeah, I'm glad they did that, and it's good to not be as stale as the new Super Mario Bros. Games. But something I really appreciate is just how much more open they made it. Is very linear games like what the new Super Mario Bros. Games were are just they bore me because it's just like you just gotta go through the motions. You have no choices to make. I like making choices. So yeah, I do want to emphasize the degree to which actually progressing through this game is really open ended. It's so open ended that once I got through the first world, I was almost surprised that I couldn't just go to whatever world I wanted. Like it's that open ended on a like a, for lack of a better term, on a day to day basis. So yeah. Okay, so I just played through for the opening couple zones of Sonic Superstars, and to say the least, it's going to be significantly more interesting than the bit about Mario Bros. Wonder. So hopefully this doesn't take too much longer. Hopefully editing this isn't a chore. But anyway, so yeah, what this game promised was basically a new Sonic game that would be like the classic Sonic games, except now in 3D. And yeah, similar to how what Mario Wonder provided, what it promised. This provided that. I've wanted a Sonic Mania 2 for a while just because I'm bored of Sonic Mania zones and I can't really go back and play the classics because I have the one Sonic Classics collection and the battery on my 3DS just doesn't work. I mean, the system will turn on for like 5 minutes, but anyway. So yeah, I mean, one thing I noticed is the game does feel quite sloppily made in the technical department. A lot of the assets look like they're reused from Sonic 4, which they may or may not be. I don't know. I mean, it does make this game feel like what Sonic 4 was always meant to be, which is to say a fourth classic Sonic game. So I guess that's kind of a thing, but it still feels sloppy reusing them, but I don't know if for a fact these are reused. I've never played Sonic 4. However, what is much more undeniable is that this directly reuses all the menu sound effects from Mania, and in addition to that, I also recognize several sound effects from Sonic 1. There's a lot of reused sound effects in this that feel kind of jerky in this, the same way it feels jerky that when you run into a wall in Pokemon, it makes this Game Boy S boom, boom sound. You know? it feels clunky in that same way, and also several of the other sound effects sounded like sounded like stock sound effects. In addition, the way that the various 3D models moved around, well, it looked good, but when they're 2D sprites moving around, when it's 3D models just changing angle as opposed to sprites being redrawn, it does feel quite clunky and jerky and unnatural. So on a technical level, the game really doesn't look that good. Sticking to the pixelated art style might still have many ways of works better in the sense that they have more of a mastery of that. And also the fact that what's it? Let me think. Fuck brain fart. Oh well. But also it's the fact that this 3D art style isn't much of an art style. It's just, oh, this is Sonic in the best in some relatively good graphics. It's not like it's anything. It's not like it's really doing anything in particular stylistically, except that it's like having it be in 3D also represents something because it also represents the modernity of this. It's not so I cannot pronounce the word modernity apparently. Anyway, but it's like it shows that this game's modern. It's not stuck looking like some old '90s game with pixelated graphics. It uses modern 3D models, which is a lot of what this is. This is a 3D Sonic, a classic 2D Sonic game being made in the modern day. Like Sonic Mania was also that, but well, the majority of the stages, including its first stage, were old stages being reused. Which go watch this video if you want my opinion on that. I do think that hurt Mania quite a lot, and one good thing about this game is that all of its levels, as far as I know, are reused. One thing I will note is that the game refuses to use text for storytelling, which is like Sonic's supposed to be a rude ass prick. He was supposed to be that in the '90s. That didn't start with Sonic Adventure in the 2000s. I don't know what it is with Sega's obsession with over the last decade of having 2D Sonic always be super nice and friendly like some old cartoon. I mean, he is an old cartoon, but he's also a rude prick. And Dr. Eggman's evil. He's not just like, I'm a cute little bad scientist. He's like, I am the evil Dr. Eggman, here to kidnap these forest animals and use them to power my evil robots. Like, he's a mustache twirling, threatening villain. He just doesn't feel like that in this. In Sonic again, this is having no dialogue like this worked a lot better in 2D games, seeing as they managed to make the art look a lot more expressive and it's more low fidelity in general. But with this, it just feels silly. Like Mario for the longest time avoided having text, and it's like it's fucking Mario. It's basic as shit. And even nowadays in modern 3D Mario, like Mario 64, like not Mario 64, like Mario Odyssey, although 3D Mario always had text like 64 did. But even in modern 2D Mario, like Mario Bros. Wonder has text in it used to tell its story, and I think Sonic Superstars would have benefited quite a lot from that. On a similar note, it reuses Mania's controls, which annoys me because I can't do the little flashy thing in the air. I like look, but I'm not mad about this. It personally annoys me a little bit, but like also it's like modernization happens. It's the sort of thing one has to deal with. There's new shields in this. I've not seen them all. It has a special stage. The Chaos Emeralds have this thing where instead of you only getting anything out of them, instead of the only thing you get out of them being that when you get all of them, you get supersonic. Instead, each emerald gives you its own power, which is like that's cool. Being able to use the individual emeralds is something in this sort of way, something I've thought about in my own like ideas and thinkings about the series for a while. So it's cool to see it implemented, and I do believe this was in the trailer as well. I'll note, and also it's like so yeah, and also it has the classic physics, so it actually feels good to play. It's like it's weird that I'm praising Mario Wonder for finally breaking from a trusted formula and doing its own thing and being good and unique and interesting. Meanwhile, I'm praising Sonic Superstars for just sticking to the pre-established formula that's known to work. I guess that speaks to the opposite problems their respective series have had over the years. I guess, lol. Oh, and the final thing I'll note on Sonic Superstars is I think there's an overabundance of special stages. Yeah, there's these big rings you can get into that give you the that give you the Chaos Emerald special stages. Then, like Mania, when you get a checkpoint, it opens a portal to a special stage. And you know how in Mania that they used this to bring back to bring back the Blue Sphere special stage? Well, in this, they used it to bring back Sonic 1 special stage, which is some obscure shit, and I'm honestly glad to see her because it's forgotten about. It's underutilized as a thing, except and you also get medals at the end of this. So I think it's literally the same thing. As well as there's also these portals that take you through a portal where you're falling. You end up in some other part of the stage at the end of it, and you get a bunch of rings. Yeah, this exists for no reason. I think having just the other two special stages was enough, considering their complete disruption to the overall vibe. Particularly my first few minutes of the game, like the first like 5 or so minutes, I went through 3 special stages. That was too much. But yeah. But if you want a classic Sonic game that's completely original, they've finally done it for the first time in 30 years. So cheers, I guess. Why the fuck did I say that, lol? Oh well. So yeah, I don't think I have much more to say. This might have been this. I think this might actually be shorter than a bit of more on Mario Bros. Wonder. Still, I think what I had to say is more interesting. Also, yeah, if I have more to say, I'll say it in another take. I don't have all too much more to say, except that I do want to elaborate on the diversity of zones. I didn't comment on it before because I hadn't played for the whole game and I didn't know how bad it would turn out. But yeah, especially for in the early game, a lot of the zones feel very generic, especially for Sonic. There's a Casino Night zone, there's a Green Hill zone. I mean, there are plenty of creative, unique zones in this. It didn't turn out to be too bad, but I did worry about that a little. And also, another thing is Eggman's silence. You know how I was talking about how Eggman's handled bad in this? Literally, I noticed when I was in one of the later zones that it shows him laughing and it just does an animation. There's no, it's not like in Sonic CD where it's like the music you can hear. Whoa, ho, 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 ho. I don't know why I'm acting instead of playing the audio clip from the game. Well, but it's like it really characterizes him as being truly evil, like how the game, like the character introduces him by saying he's a self-proclaimed mad scientist. You know, it's it's a whole. I feel like they could have done a better job of making Eggman seem cartoonishly evil in this. I actually don't like how they handled the Chaos Emerald's powers in this because they're all single use only, which just means that I never use them because I'm scared about wasting them. I mean, they aren't single use, but they're single use per act, so I'm scared about using them, so I never use it. And that makes sense for one of them, seeing as it's a screen wipe and that'd be overpowered if it wasn't limited. But for the other ones, it just means I never use these cool abilities that I have access to, and the game literally has to give you these big, flashy on-screen prompts telling you to use them. I promise they won't be wasted if you use them here, as opposed to just letting you find the secrets using them naturally, which that was bad design. The others should have just been permanent additions to Sonic's moveset, kind of like the badges in Mario Bros. Wonder. But other than that, I have nothing more to say about this game, so yeah. Hello, yeah, that was the first nearly 20-minute video I've made in a long time, and also, yeah, that was the thing. So before too many people click off, I'm first gonna tell you to go subscribe to my friend Dspog. They, make Deltarune remixes, link in the description as well as on my channel homepage. Also, like and subscribe to my channel, yada yada yada. But yeah, talking about this particular video, yeah. I recorded stuff and then it turned out to be incredibly long because my Switch is full on data and I didn't feel like clearing it up before I can get footage. I just use stock footage off the internet. Credit links in the description. Uh, yeah, I guess I was lazy, I guess it meant there was constant footage in this, and and also on top of that, it also meant that I didn't have to edit it as actively, which meant I could make this super long video in less than a week for once. Which consistent uploads are good on the YouTube treadmill, you know. So, yeah, that's all a thing. And, yeah, that's a thing. And next video will happen soon, hopefully, when we talk about AI art. Probably gonna be have more effort in it put into it than this, as I'm not really doing in the relaxing post-Christmas weekend. Plus, I feel bad about this one, but also I need to get that one done. And look, I also wanted to get this one done by the new year, just because I didn't want the last one to be the final one of the year. So, oh, by the way, this is the final one, proper video of the year. So, tomorrow I'm gonna do an end of year wrap up video on both channels. It's gonna get cross uploaded, but other than that, yeah. So, happy 2024, I guess.